So my family, my father actually started Samaha's Farm in 1963. It was a little wagon on the side of the road just to earn money to go to college. So that's how it all began. And our full story is actually on samahasfarm.com if you want to read the full length version of this. But basically in second grade, they asked what you want to be when you grow up. It's still hanging in my parents' kitchen. And I want to be a farmer and a teacher. So here I am. I run the farm market. I'm also a teacher in a local district. And my husband married the farmer's daughter, and now he's a full-time farmer as well. So we are fully entrenched in farm life. I've been pretty much running the market since I was 19, and I still continue to do so today. So it is a labor of love. It is a daily grind, but it's extremely rewarding, not only for our family, but for all the families that we can reach in the community as well.
That's amazing. Well, have you ever been to Samaha yet, Dr. Kular?
I have not been to Samaha, but she makes it sound so enticing. I'm going to have to go there now.
Yeah, you will love it for sure. So it's a little far for you. It's is it technically Aberdeen or is it
Aberdeen? Yep, Aberdeen.
Right on Lloyd Road. I stumbled upon it before I even lived in New Jersey. So I was like always in New Jersey. I'm from Staten Island originally, and I would just like do beach days here and things like that. And I was always one to like want the freshest produce just because I love to cook. So just the ingredients speak for themselves when they're fresh and like just picked maybe that day or the day before. So I was looking up like local farms, and honestly, this was like maybe 7 years ago. So I feel like it wasn't as easy to find things. I know it's only 7 years, but technology changed so much within that time. And I stumbled upon you, and I was just so like, I remember I was like, this is amazing. Literally the best place. So, yeah, it's just so great. And so when Dr. Kular and I were getting together talking about the importance of food and produce and just what kind of impact it has on our bodies, but for her families that she sees, she's a pediatrician. For me, I'm a health coach. A lot of the women I work with are moms, and they all face a similar struggle, which is how do I get healthy meals on the table, or not even how do I don't get healthy meals on the table because there's not enough time or knowledge. So it was really important for us to partner up and do like some educational videos to talk about why it's important, and really just help people kind of make it easier and also just bring awareness to it, because before you got on the call, Nora and I were talking about how like kids, it used to be that it was a special occasion that they get a cupcake, but now it's like every corner you turn, we're
all the time.
Why is it all the time?
Yeah.
Why is it all the time? And I feel like I'm the bad mom because I limit it. And I don't take away sweets from Jack at all. I give it to him in moderation, but their bellies are this big, size of their little fist. So one cupcake is the whole belly. So what kind of impact does the processed food or all of that sugar have on our kids, like from a doctor's standpoint?
I mean, I think I completely agree with you. We're seeing many more families choose the ease of buying the packet at the grocery store of cupcakes or snack food or processed food, and throw it in their lunch bags or, go to work, because now both parents are working. So it's a convenience of that, and also the cost of it as well, too. I think if people were to tell me, I would ask them, why would you choose this food versus that food? A lot of them would say, well, it's expensive. It's more expensive. Right. It's much more work to go get these farm fresh vegetables, to go get fruits, versus just pick up a packet and give it to your child. And because of that, and because a lot of the parents are working now, and so they're looking for much more easier foods and the convenience of food, we're seeing a lot more weight gain. So during this whole COVID pandemic, we've had a lot of kids who've put on a lot of weight because of boredom, eating there at home more, and they're eating a lot more processed food rather than, fruits and vegetables. That, along with the fact that there are a lot of chemicals, dyes that are unaccounted for on these labels that do cause other concerns. So a lot of it is hyperactivity. And there hasn't been so much research done on it in this country, but it has been done in a lot of European countries, which is why it has been banned. Like certain dyes have been banned in European countries versus here. They're still, allowed on our packaging or ingredients in our food. So with that, we're noticing that we see a lot of kids with more hyperactivity, which leads to more concerns or diagnoses of attention deficit. And that's one of the biggest things. The second thing that we see is a lot more illnesses, a lot more their immunity not being up to par because of them not eating fresh fruits and vegetables. They're not getting their vitamins and minerals because of the lack of those nutritional deficiencies. And that's what's leading them to get more colds, more coughs. And people don't realize that, instead of throwing some vegetables and having a good, nice, hearty soup, a lot of them being handed easier food. And I have to be one of them too. Once in a while, I do give it to my son as well too. But yeah, that's one of the second biggest thing that we see is their immune system is going down. And so we see a lot of colds and coughs because of that too. And the weight gain. And the third thing is the weight gain. So we're seeing a lot of weight issues because of them not eating fresh produce. So I would say those are the big top three things that we're seeing from a lot of families, or concerns from a lot of families for not picking more fresher foods, or at least not knowing how to. And I think that's where you come into play, where you would kind of help them or show them how easy it is to kind of pull, a few ingredients together and have a quick, easy dinner for them. That probably takes the same amount of time as them going to like a fast food place and putting it on the table as well too. So I think that you play a really big part for the families as well too in that sense.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And you're so right. I actually have the chills when you were saying about the hyperactivity from like the food dyes and things like that. And that could be like a 3-hour conversation on its own.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's absolutely, but it's very heavy because these are children and they're getting either misdiagnosed with these problems when everyone wants an immediate solution, but no one wants to do the work to get there. But like you were saying, these meals don't have to be glamorous. And honestly, it's just about putting, the macronutrients and some fiber on a plate. And when you look at that, it can be something as simple as, beans that have been, you can find good brand of beans, right? So like Jovial makes pressure cooked in a glass jar. And there are some other brands that do beans that are also either pressure cooked or cooked enough to get some of those lectins down, and they're organic, but they're not as expensive, they're more expensive, but they're not as time consuming as doing like the soaking method, which might be too much for some people. So it could be as simple as some beans or a, whole grain or a bean pasta with some veggies that you would get maybe at Samaha. So Nora, do you have any like quick meal ideas, or like what are some things that you guys like to put together, just because I know you have a wide array of yumminess over there?
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about pastas and things, my kids absolutely love pasta. So one thing that I've gotten them used to, and again, super quick and easy, is the spiralized zucchini.
Awesome.
So making the zucchini into the noodles. And then even if you have your jar of sauce, whether it's homemade or not, then it's your entire meal is not a processed meal, right? You put your sauce on it, maybe you add some meatballs, or maybe you don't. Maybe you just have, a pasta dish that's not actually pasta. So, or you throw some pesto on it. You put some fresh basil and olive oil and lemon together, and you can just throw it in your quick blender and pour it on top of your zoodles. And you have something that looks like a fun dish to eat, and the kids still enjoy it, and it's healthy, and they're getting those vitamins and nutrients. There's also, I like to add in and incorporate fun and unique vegetables so that it's something that's fun. Like, so for example, these little guys, these are called fairy tale eggplant. You have a little kid at home. It can be a princess eggplant, so you can kind of create a story with your food, and these guys cook up so easy. So you throw them into, just saute them in the pan with, you know, a little bit of oil, a little bit of, you know, seasonings, and you have a healthy side dish that's also pretty. You can mix and match with different colors, you know, so you can put all these little things together and it's something new that they haven't seen or tasted, and the flavors speak for themselves. There's also, you know, you can get vegetables in different shapes. Like this is a zucchini. It's called an 8-ball squash, and it tastes exactly like zucchini. But something that we like to do with these is just cut off the top, hollow it out, and you can stuff it. You can stuff it with meat and rice or a pesto orzo or anything that you want. And you really have your whole meal in the palm of your hand with all of the components that you'd want your children and yourselves to eat, you know, and you make a double batch and now you have dinner for more than one night. So those are some of the things that we like to do. Again, you know, you can just have some peppers, saute some peppers and onions, throw protein in there, throw some beans in there. You have a meal. It doesn't have to be, like you were saying, it doesn't have to be glamorous if you're using those fresh vegetables. My kids absolutely love raw vegetables. If I cook green beans, they won't eat them. So why cook them? Rinse them, trim them. My son is in charge of cutting them. So he sits there with his little knife and cuts the ends off, and there's a bowl of green beans on the table. These are our grape tomatoes. They literally taste like candy. If I put these on the table, I don't even take them out of the box. I rinse them in the box, I put them on the table, and before you know it, they're gone. And the kids they're eating healthy and they're enjoying it. And then for a special treat, you know, if a kid really wants dessert, why not cut up some, you know, fresh Jersey peaches? You know, we get our peaches all from one farm and they're absolutely delicious, right? So even if you add a little bit of whipped cream to a bowl of fruit, that's okay, because the majority of what they're eating is healthy. And then we like to have, especially at the farm, I'm always looking for unique things that even we don't grow, that's okay. But there's so many unique fruits available. One that I'm sure you ladies have heard of are the cotton candy grapes, right? So these are cotton candy grapes. They were actually invented by the grapery in California. So right now, and it's almost over, is when you can get the actual ones from the grapery. They've exported now, so they are growing them in other countries, but these here are the real deal. And they actually taste like cotton candy. And I've had people through our Facebook page say, what are they injecting them with? They're actually not. It's a cross between different varieties of wild grapes that produces that cotton candy-like flavor. Again, it's a higher sugar content than your peach, but it's a natural sugar. So we want to promote things like that. Hey, it tastes like candy, but it's a lot healthier than the cotton candy ice cream down the street.
For sure.
Yeah. And, you know, just even having an ear of corn, like, yes, it's starch, but it's still good for you. Our corn, you can literally eat it raw off the cob. You can throw it into a salad or a chowder or a chili. And again, you can have that all in one meal. This is a local watermelon, but it's actually yellow. So again, it tastes like regular watermelon, but it's a different experience. Anytime see something that's intriguing to them, they're more likely to give it a try. Now, are they going to like everything? No, my own kids don't like everything. We were just talking about this earlier. But finding unique ways to get them to eat healthy, that's our job, right? So if my kids say, I want a snack, I want a snack. Okay, have a piece of fruit. I don't want fruit. Well, then you're not hungry. So just being able to, as a parent, and I own a farm market, like this should be easy. My kids should be like the vegetable, you know, prince and princesses of the world, but they're not. They're just like every other kid because they're surrounded by everything boxed and packaged. And, you know, you go to that birthday party and it's not just a piece of cake. The entire party is filled with junk food. And then the more they eat it, the more their body craves it. And then they just want to eat that. And then the cotton candy grapes don't taste as good because they're not as sweet as the processed sugar. So listen, the struggle is real for everyone. I think that's important for parents to know. The struggle is real for you as a health coach, for you as a pediatrician, for me as a farm owner, right? The struggle is real. We're all in this together. But just empowering parents that you can do this, you can make those changes, and it's not too late. Because that's the other thing. Well, they've been eating this junk for so long. Like, I can't change it now. You know, I have friends. It's like they want Chick-fil-A, but okay, that's fine to have fast food once in a while. It doesn't have to be never, but it shouldn't be always.
Right. Oh my gosh, I love every idea you just gave us, and I do want to piggyback on it doesn't have to be never, but it shouldn't be always. And that, and then also, like you said, the sugary food, it's not going to taste as good. The cotton candy grapes are not going to taste as delicious after so much processed food, because processed food is made for us to be addicted to it. Like, there's that point that they create. They want that perfect balance of fat and sweet and salt and texture all at the same time, that unfortunately nature cannot compete with that once the taste buds have been manipulated. But you're right, it's not too late. It does get harder as they get older. That's why I'm always, with the moms with the really little ones, like, now is the time to make those crucial changes, or, really get started. But it's not impossible. It's just, we have to be the parent at the end of the day, unless there's some kind of like real circumstance where maybe we don't have the money or a car to get to a farmer's market. There are definitely those really sad and hard situations that this doesn't really include those people, but for the greater population and people that we're speaking to right now, they might have more access than they realize. And so what would $50 buy me at Samaha's for the week?
$50 would buy you way more than everything that you see here. I've seen people, and it all depends on your choices, right? So if you're trying to be more cost effective, cotton candy grapes is a treat. They're definitely not a cheap way to go, but you can get a whole bunch of peaches. You can get, plums, apple season. We're just upon the transition from peach season to apple season. So all of those fruits are super delicious. Our own homegrown items, your tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, green beans, all the different types of squash, eggplant. It's so reasonably priced. You'd be surprised how much you can get for your $50. You can make a week's worth of meals with the vegetables that you get for $50. Of course, you're going to make those choices. Maybe I'll get this one instead of that one, depending on your price point. But it's definitely doable. And honestly, people are spending $50 for a pizza night now. Yeah. So why not put that money towards good quality food for your family and make it a trip? Make it an experience. A lot of people come to our farm market for the experience. Like, people walk in, it smells like summer. Now summer has finally started, and once kids experience that, they want to come. They want to pick out, involve them in the shopping, in choosing their vegetables, in choosing their fruits. Like, my mom just brought my kids home, and they're like, they each had to pick a piece of fruit on the way out because they're all starving all the time, and but they have their piece of fruit, and then they're off they go, So you can definitely get a good bang for your buck and stay within your family's budget and still make healthy choices. And for those families that are underprivileged, you were saying, that maybe don't have the means, there are programs out there for them. So, for example, we participate in the Farmers Market Nutrition Program, not only for seniors, but also for women, infant, and children through the.
Love that.
So they'll get vouchers and they can bring those into us and use them for their fresh fruits and veggies. So I can show you kind of what they look like.
That's great.
But it kind of looks like this. These are the senior ones, and then there's other ones for families. So that's a great resource as well, just to reach out to your local agencies and see if anything is available for you if you are in that type of situation.
Where would somebody find out about that?
So for the seniors, it's usually the local senior center that they're in, and then for the New Jersey WIC services is for the women, infant, and children.
Okay.
And you could find out that information online. Those checks look a little bit different. I'm not going to show you only because they do have personal information on them, but it just looks like a check and it'll be in a different amount. I'm not sure how they calculate what the family is entitled to. I'm sure it's on a sliding scale according to their own, family's income. But it's great. And it's so nice to see those families come in here and be able to fill up their cart for the week and not have to pay for it. So
yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
So important. That's so great. I'm trying to think of what else we didn't get to touch on yet. Do you have anything for her?
I think it's wonderful. Everything that she shared is amazing. I didn't know that they accept coupons and from WIC, so that's really good information just to know, just to tell our families.
So true.
It's very difficult from my standpoint because we only get, let's say, 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes for a child during their examination, and to talk about their diet and their lifestyle, which essentially is not something the child sometimes has in their hand. It's a lot of the families, and a lot of it is core learning from what they learn from their families, how to cook, how to prepare, how to meal prep. So it's amazing learning everything from her. I wish they did classes or courses for new moms that are starting a family, of how exactly to prepare baby food from the vegetables at these markets, or how exactly for toddlers to prepare certain types of foods. It would be wonderful to have that knowledge on hand that we can give to the families, because like I said, we have a very little amount of time with the families to kind of touch upon these topics. But I like everything that she said, and it's very true. Very similarly, I make easy foods too for my son. So I'll make in the slow cooker. I tell a lot of the families that you don't have time, you're at work. You can use the slow cooker for a lot of stuff. You can put rice and lentils. So we make a lot of that. And we put a lot of spinach, and we'll cut up zucchini. We'll put some carrots. We'll put some corn. So they utilize a lot of the vegetables from these markets, and you're getting a lot of the vegetables. You're putting in ghee, so you can put in clarified ghee, which is really good for them. So it's a healthy fat for them. You're getting the protein from the lentils. So just kind of educating the families that how much protein to have, how many vegetables and fruits to have in the day is very important for a lot of the kids too. I have some kids that love fruit and that's all they're eating. So we have to tell them how much fruit to have in a day and how many servings to have in a day as well too. So that's a big part of the picture as well too. So ours is a little bit different, but it really helps having all that information that Nora just gave about her, the Samaha farms, and definitely having classes or little sessions would be very helpful for these families, just to show them how easy it is to make these meals and how beneficial it is. And a lot of it, like I said, just is a lot of meal prepping and just preparing ahead of time, just to know, that they have their food ready by the time they finish their work.
Yeah, one thing I used to do when my kids were little is, just steaming a zucchini or whatever the vegetable is and putting them in ice cube trays.
Yes.
And then once they're frozen, popping them into a Ziploc. And it was 2 ice cubes equaled a serving of vegetables.
Yeah.
And it's so easy, and it's so much cheaper than buying the jarred foods at the grocery store. Once you try it, it's like you'll never go back, because you're like, wait a second, all of this food cost me $10 and I'm able to feed my child for weeks.
Yeah.
So just like little like you were saying, classes for new moms, starting them off on, getting those taste buds, keeping those taste buds where they're intended to be. It's so important.
And I always tell the families that the child will only eat what you give them. If you start them off with healthy habits from a very young age, when they start the stage 1 and stage 2 foods, that's what they're going to have. So if we start them off, and I start a lot of the young moms off with grains, but then vegetables, and I always do vegetables before fruits, and I get them to do a variety of vegetables before they hit upon the fruits, and then go from there. All of them become wonderful eaters if they start early, and if they follow that. If a lot of the parents say, you know what, I don't eat this and I don't eat that, and they give the child only select few vegetables or fruits, that's what the child's going to have, what the parent gives. So educating them that diversifying their diet early in life is very important, and that's how they get used to it.
Yeah, it's so important to instill those habits first thing. And you're so right. A lot of the moms that I work with, they don't have the best habits. So they come to me usually first for the child, but I end up backtracking and say, well, get to the kiddo. We need to get to your habits first, because once they start to talk and really pay attention, they become so aware of every little move we make, and they'll ask questions. Like, I see it with Jack. I can't eat, I'm gluten intolerant, so he'll have a certain bread that he loves, and he'll ask, like, Mommy, do you want some? And I have to explain to him. But even that one habit of me not eating the same bread as him, he pays such great attention to. So it's very interesting to me to expect your child to eat this amazing diet when you don't eat it. So we also have to take care of ourselves as moms, as adults, parents, too. Whoever the caregiver is with the child, definitely needs to be, informed as well, and taking care of themselves on that standpoint too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this was
amazing. And you see a lot of the ingredients, sorry to cut you off, but a lot of the ingredients that you see in the packaged food, you see that includes corn syrup as a lot of the sugars. And you see a lot of it, like you said, there's a lot of addictive qualities in the ingredients that they put into these, the packages of cereal and certain dyes that they're adding. And I don't think a lot of families realize yet what kind of effects that it may have, not even like what I mentioned earlier, but a lot of autoimmune conditions could be related as well too. So making sure that you have healthy habits from an early start with your help, and of course going to Good Farmers Market really would pay off in the long run. And you wonder why they don't do this education in school, or why they're not talking a lot about a preventative health on the news. I know they're talking about COVID and how all those kinds of things. Very few people talk about prevention and how exactly you can start from just the basic day-to-day living and day-to-day things you put onto your body, even certain ingredients you put onto your body, of what to look for, what not to look for, and what to consume in your body. I hope and I wish that classes like this probably would become mandatory or essential in colleges or in high school, so a lot of kids can understand that they really do have their health in their own hand.
Yes, for sure. And you're right. I don't think people realize on a grand scale, how detrimental it really is. If it's something that the child is having every day or several days a week, when in the long run, it's going to cause these issues. And for some reason, it's like not registering that these little things day in and day out are causing these issues. But it's just always refreshing to hear your standpoint on it, because I think you're the perfect blend of medicine and holistic. You've been the first to tell me, like, okay, Christy, Jack needs the antibiotic for his ear infection. It's okay. This is the time to give the antibiotic, but also you will talk about nutrition and food. So, I mean, you've always, I recommend you to everyone I know that has a baby and a child, just because of you are that balance. And that's what the world needs right now. We need more markets to buy our foods. Eating local is just so important for us on so many levels. Usually you get the freshest ingredients. So everything is like really nutrient dense. it tastes great. You gave us such amazing ideas. Nora, I love the fairy tale eggplant. Do you cut that in half first, or do you just throw it right in the pan?
I usually do cut it in half. You don't have to, but if you want it to like cook all the way through and be like soft, then I usually do cut it in half.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys both so much. This was amazing. Maybe we could host a class together. That would be fun.
That would be fun.
All right, let's think about that. Yeah, we'll definitely think about that, and we'll be in touch. I'll send this over to you guys.
Okay, great.
Perfect.
All right.
Perfect.
Thank you both so much. Have a great night.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Christy.
Bye.
Bye.